Is the failure to file tax returns inherently immoral? We submit that it is not. The failure to file tax returns is not inherently wrong in the absence of a law punishing it. Said omission became punishable only through the enactment of the tax code. Ito ang sinabi ni Comelec First Division on the disqualification case against Marcos Jr. Now, James Jimenez, a Comelec spokesperson, said the basic decision is that there simply wasn't a ruling in the Court of Appeals na pinapatawan ng perpetual disqualification ang kandidato, si Marcos Jr. That's all we have to go on. Comelec has no power to overturn that CA ruling. Comelec's First Division ruling comes a week after Rowena Guanzon mandatorily retired as commissioner, which meant that her voice to disqualify Marcos Jr. did not count. Comelec does not say that not filing ITRs is okay. It is not. Failure to file is not by itself tax evasion. These are two different offenses punished differently by law. This according to James Jimenez, a Comelec spokesperson. Now, Comelec Commissioner Ferolino wrote in the decision dismissing the DQ case against Bongbong Marcos and said that the failure to file tax returns is not inherently wrong in the absence of a law punishing it. So ito yung mga reactions sa Twitter. Not paying taxes is not inherently wrong. Ano sa tingin nyo? I'm gonna share to you some of the feedback. ABS-CBN has been shut down for alleged non-payment of taxes. And then we have Marcos Jr., whose disqualification case has been dismissed because, according to Comelec, there is no law punishing non-filing of ITR, convicted by courts but not punishable by law. The Comelec's First Division ruling on the Marcos disqualification case favors repeated tax evaders, sabi ni Nato Reyes. It goes to fantastic lengths to aver that non-filing of tax returns for 4 straight years and non-payment of penalties for more than 2 decades are not a big deal and not issues of moral turpitude. To say that non-filing of tax returns for 4 straight years is not inherently wrong is an insult to all citizens who dutifully file their tax returns and pay their taxes. The stretch that the Comelec had to do to allow Marcos to run is an insult to all Filipino taxpayers. So Comelec says there's no need to file ITRs anymore. That's a question being said on Twitter because there's no law punishing non-filing. I'm sure they meant that as a general statement for everyone and not just for you-know-who because they're not, biased. Oh, this is a Twitter reaction from Attorney Ted Te. So, according to Comelec, they agree that Marcos was convicted for not filing the ITR and paying his tax due, but since there's no penal liability, then it is not a crime. Our political system is rotten to the core. Someone said every Filipino's future is at stake here. We can't just dismiss this issue, folks. We must resist and tell Comelec to rectify the issue. Nobody can decide alone. There is no quorum. Now, according to Attorney Barry Gutierrez, a spokesperson of VP Lenny Robredo, said that the disqualification was never a consideration. From the time she announced her candidacy, she always intended to achieve victory in the elections. So tell me your comments below as a taxpayer, especially those who are salaried workers where the taxes are already deducted from your salary. What is your reaction to a candidate for non-filing of taxes?